why does she won't talk? She doesn't want to meet. I'm like, get out of here. What is this? Is this like a pastime?
Hello, my name is Tom, Victor Alpha 3 Whiskey Bravo Alpha. In this short video, I'm going to demonstrate how to install SDRconnect. I'm going to install it to Raspberry Pi and connect to it with my PC computer. Also, I will be talking about needed hardware, software, Raspberry OS installation, as well as installation of the SDR applications, both the client and server, then subsequent configuration and testing. Why even bother with the distributed installation? I think the number one would be to overcome the limitations coming from the maximum length of the USB cable. The next thing would be convenience of your wireless network. You can essentially install a radio wherever you want and listen to it from, let's say, your backyard, or you can install it upstairs and listen to it while you're in the basement, not tied to any cables. Other cool feature that you could try is to use power over Ethernet to install a radio, let's say, outside of your house to avoid sources of interference that could, affect the signal. Then, of course, we want to learn about the new software and test it and play with it. And I would say the last thing, because it's a cool thing to do. Here is a simple diagram of the setup I have. You can see my home wireless router providing Wi-Fi to both my PC and Raspberry Pi 4. RSP Duo is connected to the Raspberry Pi using the USB cable. Then I have two antennas. The multi-turn loop antenna is connected to the high Z port on tuner 1. And then there is a little simple whip antenna connected to the tuner 2. And this antenna is used to receive VHF and UHF signals. Everything is connected Wi-Fi, so I can listen to the SDR from anywhere I want in my house. Here you can see the setup I have. There is a multi-turn loop antenna, which was taken from the regular receiver. And then there is a magnet-mounted whip, which is connected to tuner number 2. All this is connected to the Raspberry Pi. You can see my radios and the access point for DSTR, but this is irrelevant. So essentially, this is pretty much very simple. Very simple configuration. We're using high Z port for the multi-turn loop and tuner 2 50 ohm port for the whip antenna. So I think this is very clear and there is no shadow of doubt how this thing is connected. Here are some hardware considerations. Of course, you will need Raspberry Pi with at least 4 gigabytes of memory. You will need a fast SD card, 16 or 32 gigs, some USB key to transfer the installation file from PC to Pi, and I will show you how to do it, how to set permissions, and how to copy the file. Of course, we will need supported SDR. In my case, it is RSP Duo. You can use any other one, but make sure that this is not the one you got from China for $10. You may have bad luck trying to get it working. We will need a modern laptop or PC running Windows 10 or later, and that's going to be your SDRconnect client. And of course, you need a reliable working Wi-Fi connection, some obvious stuff, power supply cables, etc. Also pay attention to the antivirus software on your PC. It may impede download of certain packages, and use your common sense experimenting with SDRconnect. All the important pieces of software are listed on this page, so please feel free to freeze the video and go over the list and download listed software, because we will need it to complete the installation. The first piece of software I want to download is PuTTY. If you don't have it on your computer, then go here, and if your computer is 64-bit, go to 64-bit x86. Click PuTTY, and this will download it to your download folder. Next piece of software we want is, of course, Raspberry Pi. So we go to Raspberry Pi, and we go into software, and in software we want to download the imager. So this is essentially a piece of software which takes the image and etches it into the SD card. So we go download, and that's gonna, as you can see in the corner, it triggers the download. So we have this piece of software, and now we need to download the image. So I want to install it from the image which is already downloaded to my hard drive. So I go see all downloads, and here we have to be careful and read through it. So there is a 32-bit version, but I want 64-bit version of Raspberry Pi OS, and I'm gonna go with the Raspberry Pi OS Lite, because this is the version that does not have, quote unquote, Windows. It's a very scaled down version, and also very small. You can see that the full version, it's like 2.7 gig versus this one is 433 megabytes. So I'm gonna click and download, and that's gonna trigger another download. And then once we have this started, we can go to RSPDU. So we can go to the SDR Play, and that's where I wanted to go. And we're gonna download our SDRconnect software. So we need two files. We need file for Windows, and we need file for Raspberry Pi. This is not very obvious how it works, and I really don't like it. But at the bottom of this page, you have Windows version, which we need to download, and you have Linux ARM64 version. So we're gonna download Windows. You have to click this button. It's downloading it, and you can see that download is in progress. And I think go back and click Linux ARM download, and here is download SDRconnect Linux ARM64. So I'm downloading it as well. So at this point, we should end up with, I think, 6 different files that we need throughout the installation process. So here you can see all the downloaded files. The first file is Bookworm ARM64. This is the image of the Linux operating system. Then we have SDRconnect Windows, so that's going to be our client running on Windows PC. The next one is SDRconnect Linux, so this one we're going to install to the Raspberry Pi, and that's going to act as our server. And the file, the one that is highlighted, is essentially the imager, and we're going to use this imager software to etch the operating system to the SD card, and this SD card will be later used to boot your Raspberry Pi into the Linux. So here is the imager for Raspberry Pi. We need to choose device. So my Pi is Pi 4. I need to choose operating system, and technically I could download operating system from the internet, but like I mentioned before, I would like to use the one I downloaded to my hard drive. So here it is. I'm selecting this one. So this is Bookworm. And then I need to choose storage. So storage is my SD card, which is already plugged in into computer. And there are 2 partitions on it. And you may be concerned about it, but I think it's gonna delete. And if it doesn't delete these partitions, I will show you how you can do it safely and easily. And then I'm gonna click next. And here is cool thing, you can actually edit settings on your Pi. So I can name the Pi SDR server, I can create the user, I can put the wireless network that I have at home, and wireless LAN country. This is very important. So I'm in Canada, and that's why I picked CA. And here is my time zone. So all this can be pre-configured right here. And when you start your Pi, it will find your wireless network, and the user will be created for you, and everything will be there. You don't have to struggle connect monitor, or keyboard, or mouse to get this stuff working. So this will pre-configure the image for you. So we're gonna click save, and would you like to apply customization settings? Yes, I want to apply. The card will be erased. Sure, erase it. And here is the image in process. So I don't know how fast this card is. This is not my favorite one. I use it for the purpose of this demonstration. So it may take a while, but we'll wait patiently. So essentially it decompresses the image and will write it bit by bit to that SD card. Yeah, there was some error. Probably it was deleting the partitions. So let's not worry about it. And it's writing. So this is what happened. So essentially, the image was successfully written to the SD card. I'm gonna click continue, and at this point, I'm gonna pull out the card from the writer, from the PC, and I'm gonna transfer it to Raspberry Pi and start Raspberry Pi. And then the next, what we try to do is we're gonna try to connect to Raspberry Pi using SSH PuTTY client, which is already on my computer, and that's why you probably haven't seen it in the downloaded files. Okay, so let's remove the card and let's install it in Raspberry Pi. So here is the card. I'm gonna put it here. Take our Pi, disconnect it, and my card is here. So I'm gonna pull out the card that it's there, and we're gonna install the card that we created, and then we're gonna plug in our Raspberry Pi again. All right. So at this point, we should see results. Okay, so let's start PuTTY. I had it already installed. I mean, installation is trivial. You just copy it to your desktop and you run it from your desktop every time you need SSH or connect through serial port. One day I may make a video on how to use PuTTY, but let's pretend that this is the first time. So I'm starting it. I'm going to type in the IP address of the Raspberry Pi. I know the IP address of my Raspberry Pi. Essentially, I'm using something called DHCP reservation. So my wireless router hands the same IP address to my Raspberry Pi every time I run it. I can make another video about it. In your case, what you can do is you can hook up the monitor and keyboard and run command called ifconfig to find out the IP address assigned to your Raspberry Pi. You may log into your wireless router and see which IP address was assigned to Raspberry Pi. But anyway, in my case, I simply know that, so I have advantage probably over you. So I put the IP address, and that's all you have to do. You click open, and here there is a unique key that you need to accept. So essentially, instead of cancel, you click yes, and at this point, PuTTY prompts us for the login name, and that was SDR user. And the password we agreed, and boom, I'm logged into a Raspberry Pi. So now let's talk about moving the downloaded installation file from the PC and moving it to SDR server. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna identify the file. So file is in my download folder. Here it is, SDRconnect Linux ARM64. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plug the USB key to my PC. Uh, the USB key is here. It's the J drive on my PC. There are some files on it because I'm using it for different things, but let's not worry about it. They do not do any harm. So we're gonna select the file. We're gonna click copy. We're gonna go to the USB drive window. We're gonna click on it and then subsequently click paste, and the file is copied. It's a small file. It should take a second. Then we're gonna go up and we click on the J drive, right click on the J drive, and we select eject. And at this point, we can safely remove the drive from our PC and plug it in into Raspberry Pi. So now I am logged into our SDR server, our Raspberry Pi, and I will try to access the file which is on the USB drive. This is not a trivial task because we don't have Windows. It's not possible to highlight the file, click on it, and drag and drop. I am actually right now in my home directory. So essentially on Linux, it's going to be home/SDR user. So the SDR user, if you remember, is the account we created, the user account, and I'm logged in as SDR user to our SDR server, aka Raspberry Pi. So we need to issue a couple Linux commands. I'm not gonna go in depth. So essentially, that would be subject for a different tutorial. I'm pretty sure you can find something on YouTube if you want to understand the process. I'm just gonna issue some commands, and you do the same on your Raspberry Pi, and you'll be fine. So what's gonna happen is we have this USB key. It's plugged in, but we cannot see it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a directory. It's gonna be there is a folder already, default folder on Raspberry Pi called mount MNT, and we're gonna create subfolder called USB, and then we're gonna take the device SDA1 and we're gonna map this device to that folder, and then when we go to the folder, files should be there. So let's give it a shot. I'm not an administrator, I'm a user, so I have to issue command sudo, which means super user do. I like to think about it this way, and we're gonna create directory. So this is directory that already exists, and we're gonna create directory called USB. So the command executed. There were no errors. I'm assuming life is good and living is easy. We're gonna issue command right now to mount the device to that folder. Sudo, and we're gonna do mount. And this is what exists on Linux, SDA1. So that's the USB key. And let's issue this. It didn't error out. So let's change directory and let's see if, and it changed directory. So I'm gonna issue command ls for list to see if files are there. And yes, the files are there. So our SDRconnect Linux ARM64 is there. So right now we will try to copy it from this directory to our home directory where we can install from. I'm gonna try to highlight it because it's easier to highlight than to type. So I highlighted the file, and I'm gonna issue command sudo cp, which is copy, and the file name, and I'm gonna copy it to home SDR user SDR user. And let's see if we have success. I'm gonna go back to my directories. I don't have to do anything. I just go cd. I'm gonna go ls, and boom, the file is there. So here what I want to do is I want to unmount that USB drive from the Raspberry Pi. I don't want to just yank the USB key from the Raspberry Pi. I know that some people are going to complain about it. So let's issue command to unmount. So essentially what we do is we do sudo mount. So it's umount, and then we do mnt USB, and let's press enter, and that essentially unmounted the USB drive. I can now go and pull it out from the Raspberry Pi. So at this point, we should be ready to roll with the installation. The file has been copied to Raspberry Pi. What we're gonna start with is we're gonna change the mod. So we're gonna make this file executable. So we can do ls, and we're gonna do similar trick we did before. We're gonna highlight the file and use PuTTY to copy it for us. It's easier than to type, like I said, because it's less chance that you're gonna make a typo. So let's type in sudo change mode 755, and then I'm gonna go and highlight the name of the file, and highlight the name of the file, and pay and click in the empty line. So what happened is essentially that moved the name of the file to this line. And I'm gonna press enter, and the mod has been changed. So now we're gonna execute the file. So we're gonna put /, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna highlight the file and move it to the previous line. So essentially we want to achieve line that says ./SDRconnect, and I'm going to go with the cursor to the end of the line and press enter, and the installer started running. I'm going to press enter to view the license agreement, and we can press space to view through it, and then quit, and then press N to return, and press. Okay, we're gonna do exit the installer. Yes. Then when we get to the installer's location, this is default, so we just press enter and we press yes. Create menu entry. We don't want menu entry because this is not sort of GUI based installation. So we say no to this. And this is it. So now we have our moment of truth. Let's see if the software installed and if we can run it. I plugged in my SDR receiver using the USB into the Raspberry Pi. So this is connected already, and let's give it a shot. So first of all, let's go to the directory where the software should be. So we go cd opt SDR. So capitalization is important. You cannot go capital here. It will not accept it if you put SDR connect starting with capital letter. Let's run ls, and well, the command is there, and in this case it's capital SDR connect. So let's try to run it, and to run it we go /SDR connect, and to make it server we go --server. And if you want to run it on a specific port, you can put port number here some sort, and this port will be used. If you don't do it, no worries. the server will use its default port, which is 50,000. So in this case, I skip the port portion, and the server will be listening on port 50,000. So let me press enter, and boom, we are connected. Server is running. So for the purpose of this exercise, I had to uninstall SDRconnect, and here is an icon that was left on the desktop. So I'm going to show you how to install actually the client side of it. So we downloaded the exe file. So I'm going to go to downloads, and somewhere here should be SDRconnect Windows x64exe. So this is the file with our client installation. I'm gonna just run it on my PC. So I need to put my PIN. I accept to license agreement. I say next, and essentially we have to next through the license. It's gonna install it into C program files, SDR play, SDR connect. Very good. We go next, but I will ask to create a menu and also that desktop shortcut. So we're gonna go yes. So essentially it's gonna be installed to C program files, SDR play, SDR connect. And I'm gonna go install. The installation is really short. There are also some C++ redistributable files that need to be put in place. So this is gonna take probably a second. So let's wait patiently. Well, takes longer than I expected, but at this point, I'm not gonna stop the video. Yeah, installing driver for RSP, Duo driver, DX. Next, and I'm gonna finish. So here it is. It installed. Let's see if we can find it. SDRconnect. So I'm gonna click the icon, and here we are. And now we don't have, as you can see, we only have IQ file. We do not have a device plugged into my PC. So we need to connect to the server. To connect to the server, we go where the three dots are. We click the three dots and we select remote device editor. And then within the remote device editor, we click the plus sign. And this is where we specify the server name. So we can call it Raspberry Pi 4. So that's going to be 4, not dollar sign. And the IP address, it's 192.168.222.12. This is what I'm using. And the default port is 50,000. We're going to test connection. Connection to server is successful. So we go OK. And we're going to click Save Changes. And then once changes are saved, you can see that server is listed here. We click Close. And then we're going to go to the drop-down box here where it says IQ file. When we drop it down, we only see the file. We cannot see the newly added server. There are two things you could do. You could restart the application, or you could click this arrow and refresh the devices. So let's see what's going to happen if we click the arrow. Oh, our server is right now showing. So let's pick something. Let's try to see if we can actually tune in into a station. So I'm going to pick local FM station, and we'll see if we're going to have any luck hearing it. Oh, it's changed the frequency. I don't know why, but we actually can hear a station. So yeah, there is something playing here. And let me, yeah, I'm gonna stop it. I don't want to get dinged for copyright, but it looks like we got it working. So I'm gonna stop this part of video, and we're gonna summarize and call it a day. I think it's time for the summary. What we did is essentially we went through the bill of materials, including hardware and software. We discussed the design and connectivity requirements. We downloaded all the needed software to the PC. Using Raspberry Imager, we managed to create a bootable image and boot our Raspberry OS. Then we accessed it remotely using PuTTY. While connected remotely, we installed the server software. There were no errors. Finally, we installed and configured the PC version of the SDRconnect, and we connected to the remote SDR server over Wi-Fi. I would like to thank you for your attention and patience. I encourage you to comment on this video, and I wish you all the best. Thank you very much.